Prayer is a state of mind where an amazing exchange happens. We hand over our worries to God and He hands over His blessings to us. Between yesterday's mistake and tomorrow's hope, there is a fantastic opportunity called today. Live it, love it. The day is yours. A very pleasant good morning to all the participants and organizers of IS Kayush. Aganda Mandalakaram, Vyaptam Yena Characharam, Tatpatam Darshitam Yena, Tashmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Guru is the one who guides us to the supreme knowledge that pervades all the living and non-living beings in this universe. It's my immense pleasure to welcome Dr. Ilanjalian Sir, Professor and HOD, Department of Dravya Guna, Principal, Medical Superintendent, Emmanuel Arasar Ayurvedic Medical College, Proposed in Hospital, Kanyakumari to this morning session. On behalf of IAS Ayush team, I welcome you, sir. Sir, we can't hear you.
Hear me?
Sir?
Is it okay?
Aye, sir.
Is it audible now?
Aye, sir.
Okay, thank you. So very good morning to you all. So very happy to see you once again. And we are discussing about the cultivation methods, propagations, and various methods of cultivation and all we have discussed in the first few. And today we are going to discuss about the mainly on the Vriksha Ayurveda. Okay, so the ancient knowledge, we can't do anything. Our ancient knowledge is the base for the even modern knowledges and all. So it is very important to know about.
Low audible.
It's low
Sir?
audible.
Aye, sir.
Is it okay now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is it clear now?
Aye, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so in the previous classes and all we have discussed about that. So today, as I already told, the Vriksha Ayurveda we are going to discuss. So what all of the points it is mentioned in Vriksha Ayurveda. So it is very difficult to cover whole Vriksha Ayurveda in one session. So only some of the important points I am adding here. So you all know that the medicinal plants, the herbal plants, it is not possible to synthesize. So we have to cultivate. There is no other source. Why? Because so there is a utilization also. It is more nowadays because of the importance of our Ayurvedic medicine and other Ayush system of medicine. The utilization is more the herbal based medicines. So it is very important nowadays to start the cultivation as well as the propagation, and it is very important to conserve. That is also very important. So many plants are in the state of endanger. So in the previous session we have discussed. So what are the plants kept under the red list? So that is very important. For example, the Dashamula we are not at all getting nowadays, and instead of the Mula we are using the Mulatok. Instead of Mulatok we are using the stem bark, isn't it? So that is the status of the present scenario. So it is very important to start the cultivation as well as the propagation. So in ancient science, it has been given knowledge about all the field, not only in the Ayurveda or in the medicinal plants. So we can get the references of Jyotisha, Mantra, and Maths, everything we can get the details in our ancient Sanskrit text. So likewise, the Vriksha Ayurveda, as well as the Ashwa Ayurveda, Gaja Ayurveda, there are different branches also dealt in the ancient times. So in that, the Vriksha Ayurveda is a very important. So in the ancient time itself, they have kept a separate branch, a separate science for the Vriksha Ayurveda. That means even that day also
Sir?
there is a, yeah,
Sir, your
yeah,
sound is audible, sir, but there is some disturbing sounds.
disturbance is there.
Echo, sir. Echo.
Echo is there. Okay. Just a minute, I will change the audio.
Okay, sir.
Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Is it audible now? My echo now?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry for the interruption.
Okay, sir.
So the Vriksha Ayurveda, the knowledge of Vriksha Ayurveda is important nowadays. So they have kept a separate science branch also, Vriksha Ayurveda. It denotes that there is a scarcity of the plants in the ancient time itself, and they have dealt different methods of cultivation also. So these methods definitely will help us for the propagation as well as the conservation of the medicinal plants. Okay. So you all know that the Vriksha Ayurveda means the science of plant life. Science of plant life, which deals with the what are the possibilities of propagation, cultivation, as well as the control of the pest, as well as the other another insects prevention. Also, they have dealt very detailed. Okay, so you all know that's written by the Surapala. Okay, so Vriksha Ayurveda. So not only the Vriksha Ayurveda, the Ashwayurveda, Gajayurveda, everything, there was a separate branch in the ancient time. Okay, so you all know that India is the richest flora. So India is the richest flora. Around 120 families of plants we can see in India. So approximately, so 1,30,000 species are available in India. In Ayurveda, around 2000 to 2500 species we are using in Ayurveda. And if you are seeing in total, so mostly around 10,000 herbs are used worldwide for the medicinal purposes. So even the folk practitioners in the other system of medicine, the Chinese and etc. etc. So these much of plants are utilized for the medicinal purposes. Okay. So the history. So starting from the history itself, we can get the references about the medicinal plants. So in the Atharva Veda, so there is around 289 plant species are mentioned in the Atharva Veda. So you all know that. So Atharva Veda, Ayurveda is the Upaveda of Atharva Veda, right? You all know that the four Vedas, Rig Veda, Yajur, Sama, Atharva Veda, these are the four Vedas. In that, Ayurveda is the Upaveda of Atharva Veda. Likewise, so we can get so many references of medicinal plants utilization in the Atharva Veda. So around 289 species we can get while screening the Atharva Veda. And incorporation of the discarding the drugs during the Samhita Kalas. So around 650 plant species have been added, and 650 species plants have been studied, and they have dealt about its properties, Gunakarma Prayoga and all. It is mentioned in the Samhita Kalas. And during the Nigandu Kala, starting from the Dhanvantari Nigandu, Mahaprakash Nigandu, Raja Nigandu, and after the Shaligrama Nigandu, so we can get around 2,000 medicinal plants references we can get in this Nigandu Kalas. So these are the statistics that shows that in the Atharva Veda, we can get around 289 species of plants we can get, and 650 plant species we can get in the Samhita, in the Charaka Sushruta and Ashtanga Sangraha. Around 2000 species of plants are mentioned in the Nigandu Kalas. And you all know that it is a botanical garden. So India is the botanical garden of the medicinal plants, we can say. I think we can get around 15 climatic conditions, and also the 15, the soil type, the climatic nature we can get in India. Apart from in the 45,000 species, so around 17,500 flowering plants are available in India. So, okay, so it is the richest source. So we have to protect the plants and we have to conserve it, and we have to start cultivation as well as the propagation. So that is a need of the hour. And where and all it is utilized the medicinal plants. So not only for the medicinal purposes, so it is used for so many other purposes also. For dyeing, food material, as a pesticide also it is used. So nowadays you can see for extract purpose also it is used. In so many industries, it is based on the medicinal plants, not only the medicinal plants, the plants. Okay, so that is the base. Around 7,500 plants are used for the treatment purposes in the various system of medicines, and 3,900 species are used for the edible use. For the food purposes, they are using. Around 700 plant materials are used for the cultural requirements. For example, the puja, homa, etc., etc. For that purposes also. Apart from that, for the household articles also, we are utilizing the material, plant-based materials. Around 525 species are used for its fiber and cordage purposes, especially for the fiber. For its fiber, it is utilized. Around 400 species are used for as a food material. Around 300 species are utilized as a pesticides. Around 300 plants are utilized for its gum, resin, and for the purpose of dye. So around 100 species forms are used for the perfumes also. So these are the utilization. So where and all the plants are utilized. So this is one small survey. It denotes that around 7,500 species are used for in a different system of medicine, even the traditional and folk healers, as well as in the Ayush system of medicines. So these are the utilization. So these are the industries or depends on the medicinal plants as well as the plants. Okay, so it is very important. And so these are some historical references. So where and all the mentioned about the cultivation methods and all we are going to discuss now. So materials of Vriksha Ayurveda is found documented in several ancient texts. So the Vriksha Ayurveda is denoted or mentioned in various texts. For example, the Artha Shastra, Brihat Samhita, Agni Purana, Krishi Prasara, Kashyapiya Krishi Shukti, Loka Upakara. So these all are the text we can get the references of Vriksha Ayurveda, right? So we can get the references as well as the cultivation methods, everything we can see in these texts. Okay, so these texts are written in, majority of the texts are written in Sanskrit, as well as some texts are available in Pali, Tamil language, Malayalam, even in Kannada also we can get some literature. So in these texts we can get the reference of Vriksha Ayurveda as well as the cultivation and the propagation methods, right? So in the Atharva Veda, so we can get the clear-cut references about the mentioning about the root, stem, twig, flower, fruit, shaka, and all very clearly mentioned in the Atharva Veda. For the root, they have mentioned it as a mula. For panicle, they have mentioned it as a tila. Stem mentioned as kanda, and a twig valsa. Flower is denoted or mentioned as pushpa. Fruit are mentioned as phala. Shaka, it is for the branch. So we can get these type of words in the Atharvaveda. It is very clearly mentioned. So already we have seen that around 289 species of plants details are also available in Atharvaveda. In Rig Veda, instead of Shaka for the branch, they use the name as Banga. So these are the references, historical references. They have studied very well about the medicinal plants in the ancient time itself. Okay, so they have given the different names also, and for the study purpose also they have utilized this. Okay, so in the Matsya Purana, this is also one of the ancient texts. So it is mentioned that one who digs a well in a place where there is a scarcity of water lives in heaven for many years as there are drops of water in it. So like how many drops of water in it, so the person who digs the well in a dry place and where there is a scarcity of water, one who digs a well, he will lives several years in the heaven. So it denotes that he used to bless the person like it used to mention in the Matsya Purana. The planter of trees attained mukti and is never reborn on this earth. And the Matsya Purana says the another quotation also, he won't rebirth in this earth. So he used to attain mukti. So this is also mentioned in the Matsya Purana. Okay, so that much the water irrigation and the water productions detail also they have mentioned. So the indirectly what they are mentioning is, so we have to follow the techniques and we have to dig the well where there is a need, where there is a scarcity of water. So we have to dig a well and we have to find any other water source. So that is the inner meaning of this quotation. So that is, we don't know still it is whether heaven is there or not, whether God is there or not. So that is a debatable questions. But here the inner meaning is, so we have to find out the water and we have to start the production of water and we have to save the water. So these all are the inner meaning of these quotations. And one who plants the tree, he is to attain the mukti. It is also means that we have to cultivate and propagate the trees. So that is the important, the hidden meaning of these quotations. Okay. And even Agni Purana, so this is also one of the ancient literature. So in the Agni Purana also, it is given the same quotations we can get in the Agni Purana also. And the another one is the Varaha Purana. So in this, we can get the reference like a person who plants a banyan tree or 10 jasmine plants or 5 mango trees never goes to hell. So means we have to cultivate the banyan tree, jasmine plants and 5 mango trees. So these all are the hidden meaning of this. So they are insisting us to cultivate and we have to start growing the plants of banyan tree, jasmine plants and 5 mango trees. And so not only this thing, so it is mentioned that we have to start cultivating the plants. So that is the inner meaning of these quotations. So here also again, he never goes to hell. So that is also a questionable whether hell is there or heaven is there, that we have to find out. Okay. So it is the inner meaning is we have to start the cultivation, the importance of the cultivation they have mentioned indirectly in this ancient literatures. Okay. And so the Varaha Purana, so there is one clearly mentioned a quotation like about the cultivation of the paddy. So in that, so we can give, so just I have mentioned the meaning of that quotation. So, oh, the greatest of the sages, just as there are embryo, ankur, root, mula, stem, nala, leaf, patra, flower, pushpa, milky sap, shira, husk, blooms, seed vessel, osha, bija kosha, seed, tandula, and the endosperm of paddy, and they become manifest only under suitable conditions. So they have mentioned that only under the suitable conditions. So these things will appear and these things will get in proper manner. To get the proper seed, the tandula, so the proper situation, the conditions are necessary. Means we have to give the sufficient water and the weed-laying methods, the cultivation procedures, the time of cultivation, and the harvesting time. So everything, it is important to get the proper embryo, the root, the stem, the leaf, flower, and the seed. If you want to get the proper seed, the yield, so we have to give the proper conditions, suitable conditions to the cultivation for the paddy. So it means so we have to give the proper care. So that means they have did the cultivation propagation in the ancient period itself. Okay. And in the Vriksha Ayurveda, we can get the clear-cut details about the morphology of the plants, the external morphology, the physiology, anatomy of the plants. Everything has been mentioned very clearly. So already in Ayurveda, we are studying the paryayas. So the importance of paryaya, so is we can get the idea not only about the identification. So it will helpful to find out its guna karma, its prayoga, and its utpatti sthana also. So where it used to grow. So the every details we can get by the pariyas. So likewise in the Vriksha Ayurveda about the plant morphology, physiology, anatomy, everything has been dealt very clearly, and the nourishment of the plant also it is dealt very clearly. Like the mother's milk, the soil and water are the base for the nourishment. So for the plants, the nourishment is plant is getting nourishment from the soil as well as the water. So it is like the mother's milk, as well as the absorption of the water and other nourishment, the transport, transpiration, and assimilation of the nourishment also dealt very clearly. And the movements in the plants, for example, the Jalu we can get, uh, it will close the leaves when we touch. Okay, so likewise, we can get the references of movements in the plants in the Mahabharata itself. The sensitivity of the plants we can get the references in the Mahabharata. So likewise, so they have studied about the plants and they have written the notes in the text of various literature of the nation. Okay, and so this is the mention for the plant parts in the Vriksha Ayurveda. For example, the root, it is known as the Mula or Padapa. The Skanda or Prakunda is the name given for the branch, main branch, and Kanda Shaka, and Vistara, Kaliga, Parna is the leaf, Parna or Grandi. So leaf, the node also they have mentioned as a Grandi. So likewise, they have studied the anatomy of the plant very clearly in the Vriksha Ayurveda and the other ancient literatures. Okay. So what all are the subjects covered in Vriksha Ayurveda? So this is the broad heading. So starting from the ecology, so ecology where it is to grow, the Utpatti Sthana, the ecology conditions it has been dealt, and distribution of forest. So for about the forest detail has been dealt very, very clearly. Morphology of the plants. So already I told the external and the morphology has been dealt very clearly. Histology and physiology of the plants, natural indicators of groundwater. So this is very important. So natural indicators of groundwater. So it is very important. So where the water is available. So they have predicted by the signs and symptoms. So by this land we can expect the water, and they have the knowledge of various divining method also. Find out the water where it will be available under the so they have had various ideas, and the techniques also they have followed in the ancient times. So construction of water reservoirs, classifications of plants has been dealt very clearly, types of soils. So based on the color, so dosha variations also they have studied. So we are going to discuss in the further coming slides. And the procedure to be followed for collection storage of seeds. So how the seeds has to be collected and stored, the serving procedures. So what are the right season for the cultivation, the sowing the seed, best day of sowing, and the best time when the morning or evening when it has to be sowing, and the rituals to be followed during sowing and plants. So especially nowadays also you can see for the paddy cultivation. So before starting the paddy cultivation, so you can see still it is in they are following the tradition. So they used to cultivate, they used to sow the seed, especially the paddy, mostly in the evening times. So you may see the village, those who are from the village, so you may have the idea. So they used to sow the paddy in the evening times, not in the morning or in the afternoon time they want to do. They used to sow the seed to get the nursery bed, they used to do in the evening time. And also, before that, they used to do the puja in the field itself. They used to do the puja. After that only, they used to start the sowing the paddy. So it is very important because the inner meaning is we have to follow the systematic manner, the evening, the proper hygienic, everything it has to be followed. So that's why they have did the pujas and puraskaras, everything is to maintain the hygiene. For that they are still it is following in the villages we can see. and pre-treatment of seeds to ensure good germination. So what are the pre-treatment has to be followed? For example, the previous sessions also we have studied about the haritaki. So if you want to do the haritaki cultivation, so before that it has to be around 12 hours, it has to be soaked in the water. So these are the pre-treatment. So by that the seed germination will be more, the sprouting will be more. For that the pre-treatment it is very necessary, and treatment for quick sprouting, and what are the steps has to be followed for the quick sprouting also dealt very clearly, and the preparation of bed pits. So what are how the pit has to be prepared, and plant distance for different types of plants. So what is the distance between the plants? For example, the big trees, what is the space between them, and the small plants, how much space is needed for the proper yield. So already we have discussed. For example, the Pipali and all, how what is the space we have studied in the previous sessions. So the space is very important. So if you want to more yield, so I used to cultivate more plants in the 1 hectare means, so definitely you won't get the yield. So the proper spacing is must. So for 1 meter or 2 meter or 3 meter, the space is required for the proper growth. So then only the photosynthesis, everything it can be possible. By that, the plant will get the nourishment from the mud as well as from the natural sunlight and all. And watering regimen. So watering regimen, how to irrigate the plant. So that also dealt very clearly. And the nutrition. So what are the nutrition has to be given. So nowadays, we are using so many synthetic and artificial fertilizers and pesticides and all we are using. But in ancient times, we can get so many references of the nutrition. So the like Konapachala and Panchagabhya and so many things. The last session also we have discussed what are the nutrition has to be followed. It has been dealt very clearly in the Vriksha Ayurveda. And vegetative propagation process. So how it has to be propagated. So that also dealt in that period itself. Management of ailments and pests, method to produce horticulture wonders like trees with attractive flowers and fruits. To get the flowers and fruits also they did various techniques in the ancient times. So method to produce seedless fruits. So this is one of the method they have followed in the ancient period also they have followed. So these are about the broad subjects dealt under the Vriksha Ayurveda. In the Brihat Samhita, so we can get some of the references about the Vriksha Ayurveda. A chapter titled Vriksha Ayurveda is available in the Brihat Samhita. It also contains the chapters on allied subjects like divine groundwater. So, divining groundwater. How to find out the groundwater? So, where it will be available. So, how to find out the groundwater? So, that techniques has been dealt in the Brihat Samhita very clearly. And also, so productivity and non-productivity of the land. So the nature of the land, in this land, the yield will be more. This plant, the particular type of plant will grow. Like that, it has been dealt very clearly in the Brihat Samhita. And even the Sharakandar Samhita also, the 13th century text, in this also we can get the details about the cultivation methods and soil types, nourishment of plants. So what are the plant diseases and how it can be treated. That details also we can get in the Sharakandara Samhita. And also the groundwater resources also explained in that. And the chapter, so Upavana Vinoda, deals with and allied subjects of horticulture and all. So these details, everything has been dealt very clearly in our ancient text. And also the the Vriksha Ayurveda deal. Apart from that, the agro techniques. So what are the agro techniques also dealt very clearly. The soil selection. So the soil selection is very, very important. So it is done under the name of Bhumi Nirupana. So under the name of Bhumi Nirupana, they did the selection of the soil. For example, the black soil, which soil the plant used to grow properly. So that also dealt. And Bija Utpatti Vidhi, Bijotpatti Vidhi. So rules for sowing the seeds. And also Bija Ropana. Bija Ropana means the processing the bija, the seeds, how it has to be processed. And Sechana Vidhi. Sechana Vidhi means that is the irrigation. So irrigation to the plants. This is the Sechana Vidhi. So everything is dealt very clearly in Vriksha Ayurveda. And examination of soil as for indication of water. They also dealt. And rules for protection of trees. Druma Raksha and Upavana Vinoda, landscaping and gardening. So that is the Upavana Vinoda, it has been dealt very clearly. And the Poshana Vidhi, nutrition. So what are the nutrition methods, what are the menus they have followed, and use of organic manure like Gunaba, and treatment of plants, Tharu Chikitsa. So if any pest or if any disease it affects the plants, so how it has to be treated is dealt very clearly under the Taru Chikitsa. And Bhumi Nirupana. So under the Bhumi Nirupana, the soil is classified into 3 headings. That is arid, marshy, and ordinary. So arid means there is a dry land, and marshy means it's a waterlogged area. So ordinary means it is a normal land. So in the ordinary land we can get the water as well as the sunlight, everything in the moderate. So that is the ordinary. So like these 3 headings, they have divided the soil. And based on the color, they have predicted the taste, and they have Panchamaudika dominance also they have evaluated in the ancient time. So how they have evaluated, we don't know. So the black soil, it used to have sweet taste, and Prithvi and the Jala Mahabhuta dominance will be there in that they have denoted. So the taste, how they have find out also, it is also a question mark, how they have find out. So nowadays we are following the Rasa Nirdharana. So Silcharan Dhyanji, there is a method we are following to identify the taste of unknown plants. Right. Likewise, they have did a detailed study of the soil taste. By that, they have find out the Panchabhaudika dominance also. For example, the off-white, the taste predominance will be sour, and the Prithvi Teja Mahabhuta will be dominance. In the blue, the salty taste will be more, and the Jala Teja Mahabhuta is the dominance. And the red soil, the taste will be bitter, and the Vayu and the Akasha Mahabhuta dominance will be there. And white, pungent taste, and Vayu Teja Mahabhutic dominance will be there. And the yellow, it is astringent taste will be the main, and Vayu and Prithvi Mahabhuta, it is the more. So by this we can predict, by the color also they have mentioned for us what the taste may be and what may be the Panchabhaudikatva of the particular land. By that we can denote, even you can predict the diseases also, or what are the diseases may occur in the particular people growing in that soil nature also can be predicted. And the plant also it can be predicted. So what are the Panchabhaudikatva will be more in the particular color soil we can predict. And also color and fertile. So based on the color, so they have classified whether it is a fertile land or infertile also they have denoted us very clearly. So black soil, it is the most fertile land they have quoted, and pale yellow is the less fertile. Smoky black is a relatively lesser fertile, red infertile, while white is a relatively infertile, and yellow is a relatively lesser infertile. So this is mentioned based on the color. The fertility nature of the plant has been mentioned in Vriksha Ayurveda. And where the plant should not be cultivated, and soil with poisonous components, the plant should not be cultivated. The area where the stones are more, the gravel, where the ant hills are there we should not cultivate the plants. Where the more holes are there, we should not cultivate. And if there is no water, no accessibility of water also, we should not cultivate the plant in the particular area. So these areas, the plant should not be cultivated. And where the land should be cultivated means, so the land which is even has accessibility to water, and in and around with the green grass. So in and around where the green grass is there, that place is suitable for the best place for the cultivation. Okay. So there is one research article, so the Revive article, it is available in web, you can go through that one. So conservation, cultivation of medicinal plants by ancient agro techniques, the need of the hour. So really it is a need of the hour. So you can go through this article. It is available in the Journal of Pharmacognose and Phytochemistry, published in 2018. So in this they have mentioned, so what all are the techniques has to be followed for the cultivation, propagation, etc. And they have quoted about the Vriksha Ayurveda also in this article. Okay. And some of the treatment for the plants also mentioned. So you know that Sarvadravyam Panchabhaudikatam, right? You know this quotation. So each and everything in this world is based on the Panchamahabhuta, right? So the medicines also they have mentioned. For example, the neem leaf is a neem leaf decoction for the antimicrobial property. So based on its antimicrobial property, it can be sprayed over the plants if there is any microbes, if any worms conditions. And Bidanga, Emilia rice powder can be sprayed as a decoction, also can be poured for in the ant helmintic conditions, insecticidal. And the Triphala is a best ant helmintic. So for the worms conditions also it can be given. Asafoetida, it is used for the biocidal. And Vacha, antibacterial nature. So Vacha, antibacterial nature. And white mustard, it is also having the antifungal nature. Black pepper, fungicidal and insecticidal nature also it is having. So these are the plants used for the treatment for the plants. So these plants are helpful for treating the humans also. Likewise, these plants are very, very helpful for treating the so many diseases affecting the plants. The medicinal plants also can be used instead of the artificial synthetic pesticides and all these type of treatments we can do. Okay. So physiology and pathology of plant life similar to the animal and human life, based on the philosophy of ancient Indian system of Panchamahabhuta. So already I told Sarvadravyam Panchabaudhihatvam. So based on that, based on the yukti, we can select the plant-based medicine also to treat the various diseases in the plants too. Okay. So nutrition. Some other headings, these are the headings of nutrition, prevention of diseases, and diagnosis and treatment based on the theory of three doshas. So it is references are available. So what are the diseases affecting the trees? So it is also classified into Vataja disease, Pittaja, Kaphaja. Likewise, the plant also they have mentioned to treat the Vataja Vikaras, Pittaja Vikaras, Kaphaja Vikaras for the plants. And in the Varagi Samhita, so it is mentioned that vegetative propagation of the plants. So in the transplantation method as well as the cutting, these type of method we can get in the Varagi Samhita. The propagation methods, we can get the references in the ancient time. You know that the vegetative production means the branches could be cut either at the base or at the nodal region. The branches cut off must be immediately pasted with cow dung. So this is a notable point. So still you can see for the rose cutting. So we used to do, so immediately after cutting the rose cutting, while planting it, so they used to apply the cow dung over the another end. Okay, and then it should be planted in the soil. So the trees like Panasa, Ashoka, Kadali, so these are the plants can be cultivated by the vegetative production is mentioned in our ancient text. So the cow dung application we have to adopt. And Bhavana Vinoda, there is one text. In this also mentioned very clearly about the transplantation method, about the trees, the cultivation and all. So the pit should be filled half of the depth with fine soil, water adequately when the transplantation of the tree is done. So how the soil, how much the soil has to be filled and how much the water has to be given also mentioned in this Bhavana Vinoda chapter. It is mentioned very clearly. Okay. So seed collection, the best season for collection of the seed is the January to March, that is the Magha and Falguna month. And the seed should be collected immediately, has to be dried properly under the sunlight without touching the floor. The seed should not touch directly to the floor. The seed should not be kept an anthill in a cowshed, never contact with the remnant of foods. So food materials should not be there where we are preserving the seed. And the seed not to be kept on ghee, oil, buttermilk, lamb, and salt. So for example, so these are the natural preservatives we can see. For example, the pickles and all we used to use for the oil and all, and for something we used to use for salt also. Okay, so we should not use to preserve the seed, the ghee, oil, buttermilk, lamb, and salt. These things and all we should not use. And we have to use the fungicidal, natural fungicidal with the help of bacha, and it has to be rubbed properly with vidanga and honey. So vidanga, you know what is the property of vidanga also, you know that one. So it is for the worms. So it will prevent from the worm infestation. And milk, ghee, cow dung, vidanga, ushira, sesame seeds, that is tila, honey, brahadi seed, and brahadi seed and ashes of whole plant of the brahadi are recommended for special treatment for before planted. So these are the different formulations also we can get. So how it has to be, the seed has to be preserved, and what are the, this is the before planted, this thing has to be followed. Milk, ghee, cow dung, this thing has to be applied before planting it, not during the preservation time. We should not, the seed should not touch with the milk, ghee, etc., salt and all should not be contact with the material. So eradication of in direct sunlight for 5 days after soaking the seeds in milk has been specially recommended. So these are the methods how the plantation, the seed has to be preserved, very clearly mentioned. So how the pit, so the cultivation pit, how it should be also dealt very clearly. So 1 cubit in diameter into 2 cubit depth. Pit has to be prepared, and the pit has to be filled with the milk and water. The pit has to be filled with the milk and water, and the pit should burn after it become dry. So once the milk and water get dried, it has to be burnt. Okay, after that, the pit should be smeared with honey, ghee, and ashes. So ashes means, so burnt ashes like brahadi and what we discussed. So that ashes has to be, we have to apply around the walls of the pit. The pit is then filled with mud to height of 4 digits. So 4 digits, and also filled with the flour of black gram. So masha has to be used, sesame, tila, and barley. Again, mud is filled to the same height 4 digits. So down 4 digits we have to fill with the mud. Again, after that it has to be filled with the black gram, sesame, barley, etc. After that again 4 digits of mud has to be filled. So this is the pit should be like mentioned in the Vriksha Ayurveda. So very good references. But nowadays we don't think we will get the milk and all to use for to fill in the pit and all. So likewise, so we have to see the scientific reasons behind that. So why they have utilized this method, we have to analyze. So that is the important point here. So instead of that, we can utilize some other methods also. So these are the methods. Then it is filled with the floor gram. So this is about the preparation of the seed pit. Then it is floor gram of the black gram powder has to be filled. An infusion of fish and water is poured on this material and pounded till it becomes thick mass. So here also they have mentioned about the fish and water liquid. We have to infusion. We have to pour in that. The seed is sown at the depth of 4 digits and sprinkled with water mixed with fish and animal fat. So they here also mentioned that the water has to be mixed with fish and animal fat. So this is the nourishment techniques they have followed in the ancient time. The excellent sprout can be achieved in this manner. So you know that 1 digit means it is a 1 angula, around 1.95 centimeter. So these are the methods was followed in the ancient times. The seed bed preparation. The seed bed should be spread with the grass and then sprinkled with water and milk. So once the seed has been sown in that, the seed bed has to be sprayed with grass, and then above the grass the water has to be mixed along with milk. Okay, so this is the irrigation after the seed bed. After the seed germinates, the grass should be removed and the earth is air dried. So this is the method followed. And the time of sowing, so best time for the cultivation is the Shravana, Ashana and the Shravana. So this denotes the June to August. And land preparation. So how to prepare the land also mentioned in the Vriksha Ayurveda. A soft soil which is not very hard is suitable for growth of plants. Always the soft soil which is good for the cultivation of the plants. So initially cultivate the tila. So this is also one of the important points. So tila has to be cultivated initially. After they flower, the entire crop has to be plowed into the soil. So initially the tila has to be cultivated where we are going to cultivate the medicinal plants. The tila should be cultivated initially. When it reaches the flowering stage, it has to be plowed thoroughly, okay, into the soil. Then the land has to be plowed again, and then the cultivation has to be started. So these are the methods. So initially, first the plant should be cultivated is the Aristata, the Sapindus sapinifera, and the Saraka, Ashoka, and Punnaga, Calophyllum, Minophyllum, Shirisha, Albizia, Labac. So these are the plants should be cultivated first in the garden. In the garden, when we are cultivating the medicinal plants, so these are the 4 plants has to be cultivated initially. Okay. General rules of sowing the method, seeds. So they have dealt that it is a celebration time. The sowing the seed is a celebration. Likewise, we have to do the cultivation in with the joy, with the proper mood. So everything depends its yield. Okay, the seed should be sown in the prepared pits tenderly at an auspicious moment with the celebration joy, and be watered with a mixture of meat and water. This is for the meat and water is important point there. That is they are used for the nourishment. This helps young plants to sprout and grow well. So big seeds always sown in one by one. If it is a small seed, it has to be scattering with one's own hand. It has to be scattered, not as a one by one. The small seed means it has to be scattered. And one more important point here is the seed of lemon sown by spitting out from the mouth. The seed, after drinking the juice or whatever it may be, if you spit from our mouth, the germination it will be more. So that is a method they have followed in the Vriksha Ayurveda. So the seed of the lemon, Jambira, sown by spitting out from the mouth. And usually the sowing starts with by its owner, followed by the attendants has to be followed. The first, the owner has to be sown the seed, then only the attendant, the supportive workers has to be do the sowing the seed. This is for the importance of the direct attention to the farming. So, and also there are some mantras also they have used for during the cultivation also. Chanting the mantra also they have mentioned. And irrigation, so during summer, morning and evening has to be, water has to be given. Rainy, once in a day, water has to be given. And for new plants, we have to give water in the morning and evening. And consideration of seasons, timing, etc. Everything is mentioned very clearly in our Vriksha Ayurveda. Okay, so by this next we are, these are about the brief idea about the, I can able to give only the brief idea. It is very detailed. So I can covered only the broad headings only I have covered today. So next is the somewhat important schemes available nowadays for the central government of India. So this will give the importance and need of the hour for the cultivation of the medicinal plants. So in these things we have some points we have dealt in the previous session also. So our utmost aim is the integrity, quality, and efficacy and safety of the Ayush system to the each and every individual in the globe. So that is our main ultimate aim. For that, the self-sufficiency in raw drug is the base. For that, the cultivation of the medicinal plants is a prime importance to reach the ultimate goal, to reach the integrity, quality, and to maintain the efficacy and safety of the Ayush system of medicine. So channelizing this thing, so the incentives should reach to the each and everyone in proper manner. So that is very important. So then only if the agriculturists or the farmers, if they are doing the cultivation, the proper incentives has to be reached to the particular person. So then only they will get the profit as well as the interest for cultivation of the medicinal plants. And promoting the good agriculture and collection practices is need of the hour. So we have to do this thing, GSCP. And initiation and affirmation of clusters, the self-help groups and the cooperative models, the NGOs, we have to give the initiation. By that, we have to create a zones, the clusters, and the infrastructures we have to create, and we have to give the marketing and development skills to the person, those who are cultivating. By that, we can improve the cultivation propagation. And even the private sector also has to put the investment over the cultivation of the medicinal plants. This is also very, very important nowadays. And another point is the gap between the producers, collectors, and traders. The gap has to be filled, or it has to be minimized. This is very, very important. So the gap between the producers, collectors, and traders, and the buyers in the pharmaceutical industry, the gap has to be filled, and it has to be reduced. So this is the collection chain. So we have discussed in the first session also. So how the collected plant reached to the market. So this is one diagrammatic chart. From the forest, so it is collected by the wild collector. So after the wild collector, it reaching to the mediator level 1, rural level it is reaching. So after that, mediator level 2, it is district level. So after that, it is reaching to the local market. By local market, it can directly to the domestic user. In the another way, it reaches to the herbs mandi. From the herbs mandi, it again reaches to the herbs supplier. From the herbs supplier, it reaches to semi-processing unit and the manufacturing unit of the herbal products. And then again, it is reaching to the domestic market. Then after that, it is reaching to the overseas market. So this is likewise the cultivator also, they has to cross the herb supplier, herbs mandi, and semi-processing unit, manufacturing unit, domestic market, overseas market. So this gap has to be minimized. So what I'm saying is the cultivator has to increase its means the value increasing. By increasing the value, even the cultivator, the wild collector, can reach directly to the at least to the manufacturing unit by cut-shorting the mediator level 1, 2. So the medicine has to reach directly at least to the manufacturing unit. So by that, we will reduce the cost increase. We can minimize this thing. Okay. So this is another diagrammatic chart. There is a cultivation of medicinal plants. So by various methods, how it is cultivated and how it is reached to the market. So it is another chart. Even it may be collected from the home garden, either it may be collected from the farmer's field, or it may be the wild collection. From the home garden, it used to go for their domestic purposes. If it is more, it used to reach to the informed traders. From the informed traders, again to the middleman agent, again after that it reached to the Ayurvedic companies. So from the Ayurvedic companies, it reached to the small scale processors and retailers and national consumers and then international marketers. So likewise, it has to cross so many barriers. So the cultivated medicine or collected medicine from the forest, it has to reach to the destination with the different barriers. We have to cross each and everything. And by crossing these things, so each and everyone, they are keeping some margin. So because of that, the hiking of price is also unavoidable nowadays. So if the cultivation is more, definitely the rate will reduce nowadays. Okay, so these things has to be adopted and followed. So because we have to minimize the gap between the collectors and the destination source, we have to reduce. That is very important and prime importance nowadays. And preservation and application of local and cultural knowledge. So we have to give respect and we have to follow the cultural knowledge. So from the local peoples, we have to learn. So what are the methods they are following for cultivating the particular plant. So we have to document that thing. It is very important. Likewise, we have to utilize the Vriksha Ayurveda and ancient texts which are mentioned for the organic farming and the natural cultivation. Also, we have to adapt from the ancient text. And investments is the prime important. So without investment, nothing can be done. So investment from the various source, even from the private sector, from the government sector, it is need of an hour for increasing the cultivation and public cooperation. So without the public cooperation, it is impossible to to reach the goal of the cultivation and propagation of the plants. So each and everyone should have the interest for the cultivation as well as the preservation and conservation of the forests and conservation of the rare endangered medicinal plants. And promote the consumption. So the level of promote consumption level also, it is increasing nowadays. So we have to follow the good practices and GACP, and everything has to be followed, and ethical clearance also has to be followed. So we have to follow the ethical. So we should not adulterate. So we should not, instead of getting the mulatok, we can use the stem bark. So we should not use the bark of some another plants for the particular species what we are going to use. So the ethics we have to follow. And like other commercial crops, the even medicinal plants also has to be given the prime importance to increase for its cultivation, because it is demand is increasing more. So we likewise the like commercial plants like sugar cane, etc., etc., the importance has to be given to the medicinal plants also. And value addition, so we have to increase the value. So before already I told, has to cross the different barriers starting from the collection. Like a fresh material, if you are selling the fresh material, so you won't get much profit. So if you are, instead of the fresh material, if you dried it properly in the systematic manner, if you sell it, you will get profit. And as well as if you sell that one non-standardized extract, so by the dried material, if you are preparing the extract and if you are selling, again you will get the 25% extra of value we can add in that. And freeze and spray dried extract, this is another dry extraction method. So proper standardized extraction method. So if you are following the standardized extraction method, you will get 100% of profit. And if you are giving the only the extract phytomedicine, again you will get the more profit from the medicinal plants. So these are the, you will get the profit by, instead of giving as a fresh material, if you are doing some value addition, so definitely you will earn more either in this herbal medicinal plants industry. And the business opportunity from the cultivation, processing, byproducts utilization, product development, marketing, consultancy, quality control, packing, storage, each and every step there is an opportunity. Okay, so for cultivation, rural employment and livelihood improvements can be made possible. And processing unit means we can start our distillation units and extraction units we can do, and herbal extraction units also can be possible. And vermiform, compost, perfumed waters, botanical pesticides also can be utilized by the byproduct by using the processing. And manufacturing of soaps, candles, likewise the another product also can be possible by the medicinal plants. And seed, only seed can be, we can sell. Nowadays we can see the organic herbal seed available with me, like we can see the in social medias. So they are doing the organic seed selling business also. That is also trend nowadays. Okay, without the hybrid or anything, they are selling the, especially the vegetative, for example, the vegetables and all the organic seeds are available in the market. They are selling. Likewise, the plant's oil and another material also it can be converted and get gas. It can be sold in the market. And so these are the field of interest where a lot of the opportunities are available. And there is one 6th World Congress on Medicinal Plants and Marine Drugs. It's supposed to held on June of this year, but the date has been modified because of the COVID. So the main aim is to bring together leading academic scientists, researchers, specialists, and research scholars to exchange and share their experience and research results on all aspects of medicinal plants and marine drugs. And you all know that Ayurveda system from India is utilizing more and more medicinal plants, and it is used for various system of treatment, respiratory and so many system and so many diseases also. It is treating with the help of the medicinal plants by Ayurveda. And Asia Pacific is expected to show the fastest growth. Based on that report, the summit, so they are calculated the Asia Pacific is expected to show the fastest growth, especially the India and China. They are utilizing and they are doing the main role in the herbal markets. And the extract segment, so the extract segment is also increasing nowadays. The extraction in the 2016, the revenue was US dollar 27.1 billion, and in 2024 they are expecting it may reach to 44.6 million. They are expecting, so that much the demand is there. And nowadays, after COVID, the utilization and using the herbal-based medicines also it is increased, and the promotion also by our central government also they are doing to prevention from the contagious diseases, and higher absorption rates of extracts. And the extract industry is also growing very fastly nowadays because of its absorption rate is more. Okay, so higher absorption rates of the extract gives the market growth. So it will gives the market trend. So trade business also, if you are giving as a extract, the absorption rate is more when compared to as a other form. So tablets, so converting the medicine into the tablets and other form, capsules and all. So it will give the higher dose accuracy as well as in the easily carryable also. Nowadays we are getting so many medicines, the kashayas and etc. are available in the tablet form, and the capsule forms it is available nowadays. And one more thing is the National Ayush Mission. So you all may know these details. Just I'm given once again I'm revising this thing. So you all know this. Everything is available in the web. What all are the activities they are doing? The National Ayush Mission. Everything it is available in this thing. And there are various schemes also they are giving by this mission, NAM. Okay. So the main objectives of NAM is cost-effective Ayush services to all the peoples. So to promote Ayush medical systems through cost-effective Ayush services, strengthening of educational systems, facilitate the enforcement of quality control of Ayurveda, Siddha and Unani homeopathy, that is ASUH drugs, sustainable availability of ASU and H raw materials. These are the main objectives of NAM. So cost-effective treatment should every individual, and good educational system and quality control of ASUH drugs and sustainable availability raw material. So to reach the above set points, if you want to achieve the above set points, so it is very important that the availability of the raw material is very important. So we have to availability of the raw drugs we have to increase, means the only sources, the cultivation is the only method, otherwise the preservation, the propagation. So these are the methods to be followed to give the cost effective and good treatment by Ayush system. And the main vision of NAM is cost effective and equitable Ayush healthcare system through the people, and the educational institution has to be standardized, and to promote the adoption of quality standards of Ayush drugs and making available the sustained supply of Ayush raw material. So this is very important. So the third point I have mentioned as in yellow color. So to promote the adoption of quality standards of Ayush drugs and making available the sustained supply of Ayush raw material is the prime important, is the main vision of NAM. Objectives, these are the objectives. So I think the time is very few, so just I'm passing slides. So to provide a cost-effective Ayush service with a universal access through the upgrading Ayush hospitals and dispensaries, and Ayush facilities at even starting from the PHC has to be available. The Ayush system of medicine and the healthcare has to be reached to the each and every individuals. And state level state level committee has to be formed, and they has to start the pharmacies, drug testing laboratories, and the cultivation propagation schemes. Everything has to be insist in the state level also. That is also one of the aim and objectives of the National Ayush Mission. So they are giving instruction to the state level committee to increase the standards of the institutions and pharmacies, drug testing laboratories, and etc. and support of cultivation of medicinal plants. So support of cultivation of medicinal plants. It is very important. So this is also they are instructing, and this is also one of the main objectives of NAM, and adaptation of the GACP and the good agriculture and collection practices. They are also insisting to follow this thing to propagate the medicinal plants. So good agricultural collection storage practices has to be followed, and the standardized seed also has to be very important for the furthermore cultivation, and support setting up the clusters. So already I told the self-help groups and small clusters has to be developed, and we have to give the funding, and we have to give the education, we have to give the technical details to the persons, those who are indulging in these activities has to be given. This is also one of the main prime objectives of the NAM, and they are planning to develop the entrepreneurs also in the field of cultivation, and there are different schemes are available in the National Medicinal Plan Board. So you may aware that National Medicinal Plan Board, in the last session also I told that there was an important MOU signed between the manufacturing industry with the farmers, like NMPB. So NMPB signed with the pharmaceutical industry directly. So likewise, by the MOU, the farmers can directly sell the cultivated materials, the raw materials to the industry, pharmaceutical industry. So that MOU will helpful definitely. So likewise, they are doing different schemes also for the cultivation. In some places they are giving different subsidies also, different level of subsidies also they are giving for the cultivation propagation for the medicinal plants, starting from the 90-10 ratio central and state government, and in some places they are giving 100% central government fundings also they are giving. And so these are the list of plants eligible for 75% subsidy. So if you are this is the subsidy, 75% subsidy you will get. So if you are applying for a scheme, if you are writing, if you are applying for a scheme for 1 lakh, so you will get 75,000 subsidy by this. So only your investment is a 25,000 only. So you will get the 75,000 subsidy from the central government for cultivating these the following plants like Aconitum frax, Vatsanaba, Gogulu, Jadamamshi, Shonaga, Kaduki, Chandana, Pushta. For these plants, you will get 75% of subsidy you will get by the central government by to cultivate these plants. And plants eligible for 50% subsidy. If you are cultivating these plants mentioned in this slide, you will get 50% of subsidy by the NAM under the NMPB, Medicinal Plants Board. This is that is also governed by the National Ayush Mission, NAM. The scheme is with the NMPB, National Medicinal Plant Board, for cultivating the Bilva, Shirisha, Varuna, Gloriosa superba, Kalihari, and Yeshimadu and Gambari. For cultivating these specific plants, you will get 50% of subsidy. And Pushkaramula, Jivanti, Nahakeshra, Chitraka, Vidarikanta, Agnimanta, Sharpaganda, Ashoka, so, and Padala, Rohitaka, Krishnaparni. For cultivating these 27 plants, you will get a subsidy of 50%, and you will get 30% of subsidy for cultivating the Abrus precatorius, Acorus calamus vacha, and Adadada vasica, Kalamega, and Alpinia galanga, Becapum monari, Punarnava, Senna, Celastris paniculatus, Mandukaparni, Sweda Mushali, and Dalchini, Cinnamon Tamala, Cinnamon camphora, as well as the Shankapushpi, Krishna Shariva, Amla, and Kokum, Trivrut, Chandrashura, Tulashi. So the list is going on. So if you want to cultivate these type of plants, you will get 30% of subsidy from the National Ayush Mission as well as the National Medicinal Plans. So likewise, there are so many opportunities in different places, in the different sources. You can act in different industry also. The cultivation is the best method nowadays, and best field also, market trend also. You have to follow. The list is going on like Nalgundi, Ashwagandha and all. So we have to utilize the schemes and we can start the cultivation also. The ignorance of our ancient text is responsible for the degeneration of the agriculture practices. So the ignorance of our ancient text is responsible for the degeneration of the agriculture practices. So this is one of the important quotation. So if you neglect our ancient text, so even though we are having the different techniques, agro techniques and cultivation methods, the last session also we have followed the HTST method, high density short-term cultivation methods, and that we have discussed. So we have to follow the ancient text, the ancient knowledge, the traditional knowledge also we have to utilize. By that we have to start cultivation the plants. By that we will get the proper yield, and we can preserve also if you are following the ancient text. So by this I am concluding the session. So thank you. So one more request, start cultivation. So by that I am concluding the session. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for giving lots of information about Vriksha Ayurveda. Sir, with your kind permission, shall we move on to question answer session?
Yeah.
Sir, could you tell us more about the techniques used now to define the taste of unknown plant?
Actually, there is a method. It is adapted nowadays. It is mentioned by the Shivcharan Dhyanji, S.T. Dhyanji. It is there. That is a threshold method, threshold taste analysis method. It is there. So there are so many researches also done on this taste threshold method. So you can Google it by taste threshold experiments, or you can search it in net. There are some researches also published in the article also, so you may get it. So the base is the Shivcharan Dhyanji Rasa Nirdharana method. Taste threshold method. So that is a method followed for the unknown plants.
Okay, sir. Sir, do you know anyone in Kerala or in Tamil Nadu who apply the recommendations of Vriksha Ayurveda?
I'm not sure. I have to find out. Why can't you start? So there are a lot of references are there, and the text also available and from LSSPAs. Some text are there. Some Vriksha Ayurveda text also it is there, and I don't know who is following properly. I don't know. We have to find out, and even you can start. So that is an idea. There are a lot of methods are mentioned in Vriksha Ayurveda.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for making this morning session very informative and more useful. Thank you, sir. After some announcements, there will be valedictory function, an announcement to the participants. I Ask Ayush is regularly conducting scientific sessions to Ayurveda fraternity and sessions in Tamil for both Ayurvedic and common people. Both the sessions will be live on I Ask Ayush Facebook page. First session will be in Tamil at Saturday, October 3, 2020, 6 p.m. in Anevarkum Arogyam in the topic Ilamayal Mudumai Ayurveda Murayil, Active Aging through Ayurveda by Dr. Chitra, BAMS, Assistant Medical Officer, NRHM, Karur. Second session will be in English at Sunday, October 4, 2020, 6 p.m. in the topic Ayurvedic Approach to Shukra Pariksha and Clinician's Perspective by Dr. GKS Datta Sharma, PhD, Professor, Department of Basic Principles, Adi Siva Ayurveda Medical College, Guntakal, Andhra Pradesh. Both sessions will be live on I Ask Ayush FB page. The roots of all goodness lie in the soil of appreciation. So now I would like to call upon Aditya Lakshmi to start the valedictory function.
Good morning, participants and our respected presenters. On behalf of IS Ayush, I welcome you all to the valedictory session of Siksha Dravyaguna series. Back in second year, during my visit to our college garden of medicinal plants, I used to get perplexed of seeing my madam whenever she used to point at a tiny bud or single racemose inflorescence with such an affection in her eyes. Only then did I understand that the Ayurveda physicians are not just Vaidyas, but a Vaidya who has a Draviguna specialization is a nature lover from heart first, who admires each and every Dravya around him or her, and one who always identifies their uniqueness. The IS Aish platform is blessed to have three such personalities who have understood the medicinal plants from all its basic cell structure to its medicinal properties as well as their propagation techniques. They have been with us from September 7th to this day, giving 18 hours of flawless piece of knowledge. A saying of Paracelsus goes like this: just as the flowers grow from the earth, so the remedy grows in the hands of the physician. The remedy is nothing but a seed that must develop into that which is destined to be. We are grateful to have two such physicians and a botanist here with us in the 12th session of Siksha Dravyaguna series. And it would have been an ever treasurable knowledge for the participants. To start with, I mark my gratitude to Dr. Raju Krishnan, MD. Sir is an associate professor in the Department of Dravyaguna at JS Ayurveda Mahavidyalaya, Nadidad, Gujarat. Through his topic, Art of Identification through Ancient and Modern Aspects of Medicinal Plants, he brought in front of us families of the plant kingdom, elaborating their synonyms, habitat, characteristics, peculiarities, along with their general indications. He had also specifically mentioned the classics, which had highlights about each drug. Each of our slide and approach to each drug must have surely brought a new perspective about Dravyaguna in the minds of viewers, sir. Thank you very much for your sincere efforts for the presentation and the patience and clarification which you gave for all the doubts from our participants. We would be happy if you share a few words with us, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. So very good morning to all. First, I like to congratulate the IAS Ayush and all the team to come up with a very good webinar series. So it was a very good selection. So in that, like starting from identification, then the pharmacognosy, and later the cultivation. Because only identification is not a proper way. Means even Harish sir also told identifying the fresh plant is very easy, but the second section, like identifying the raw drugs, then it's a section, and the finally the cultivation. So we identified and the plant which is not available, readily available, because you know, like nowadays there are huge demands. So this webinar section, it was perfectly, like it was well planned. So I hope all get good knowledge about at least the plant, the whole things. So from starting from the identification till the cultivation. And about my topic, the identification, so it is a very vast, and also it is like no one is complete in that. Like even I am also learning many new things nowadays. So that's why just think that this is a beginning, and uh, with this idea, we keep on identifying, and because there are many more drugs, many more families yet to cover, and there is no books with all the details are available. So we should collect all the detail individually. Like many books are there, we should select which we needed, and then we should go with that. Okay. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Next, I would like to thank Dr. Harish sir, PhD. Sir is currently the head of the Department of Pharmacognosy at IPGT and RA, Gujarat Ayurveda University, Jamnagar, Gujarat. To his topic, field observation to microscopical identification of Ayurvedic drugs, he had covered a very essential part of the drug manufacturing, which includes primitive identification of raw drugs and plants, pharmacological evaluation, substitutes, and the adulterants, which are usually the nightmare of the quality of our medicine, as well as standardization formulations, which fundamentally determine the effectiveness of the prescription of an Ayush doctor. So these are some very important practical utilities which affects the quality of our science. I am obliged to you, sir, for your time and efforts you spent for us, and thank you very much, sir, for patiently clarifying all the doubts of the participants as well. Thank you very much, sir. I request you to speak a few words. Over to you, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm very thankful to the JOSC, Ayush, and also organizers. All the sessions what we planned very perfectly. It is from the field to the in-house, how to identification, how to identify the raw drugs, and also how to cultivate these medicinal plants. It's a very good session which is organized by your institution. It is very important information which are got all the three speakers. First, you wanted to identify all the in respects, and the second is how to identify the individual raw drugs from the each plants, and also how to cultivate and utilize in the preparations. Very beautifully organized. It is fundamental aspects of the Ayurveda is the only the medicinal plants. Without that, we are not doing any kind of preparations and other things. It is very important and much informative to the all the Ayurveda scholars. I am once again thankful to all organizers and JOSC Ayurveda. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Last but not the least, I am obliged for your presence, sir, a constant part behind IAS Ayush, Professor Dr. R. Ilanchirian, MD, PhD. Sir is currently the professor and head of the Department of Dravyaguna and the principal and medical superintendent at IAAMC NH Kanyakumari. Through his topic, Modern Parameters and Techniques in Cultivation, Propagation and Pharmacology of Ayurvedic Drugs, sir gave us the insight of the cultivation methods, and inspired by your session, I hope to find many entrepreneurs in the industry of medicinal drug cultivation, sir. The innovative ideas like the rapid root production of Dashamula in KFRI must have surely inspired many of the participants, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your amazing sessions. Please share a few words with us, sir. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, I want to say my sincere thanks to each and everyone, those who are worked for this successful webinar. To all the Ayush team, I would like to say my sincere thanks. And basically, it is a totally new topic for me. So cultivation. So I'm having the interest, but the cultivation, the teaching, the cultivation is entirely new for me. So I got the interest. Basically, I am from an agriculture family. Okay, so that is one thing. So I saw the cultivation, even the paddy field cultivation also, the pujas and also we used to do like, so still we used to do that pujas before sowing the seed and all. So there I got the interest. So something about the cultivation, need of the hour. So the cultivation is the need of the hour. We are not getting the proper medicine. And I'm preparing some medicines also. So I'm facing a lot of difficulties to identify as well as to get the genuine drug nowadays. So for that only, these sessions, the identification is really helpful for me also. Even the raw drug identification, the fresh drug identification by our eminent speakers, it was really helpful. hope this thing it would be helpful to you also. So here I want to say my sincere thanks to my beloved teacher, Dr. Harish Har. So I was studied under him in the IPGT-RA during my PhD. Sir used to teach. Sir won't take class more. He used to teach like how to do the sections. So my drug is Balladaka. You all know that Semicarpus anacardium. You know it used to cause the blisters. So we both used to did the microscopical of Balladaka. So first time, and we published an article also. So for that, Sir helped me a lot. And as well as when we asked if we have to do this webinar, sir, so definitely he told we will do. Like he accepted immediately. And during his busy schedule, so yesterday also, sir had some Viva and 2 Vivas. So in the busy schedule, sir had come with us and given he has enlightened us. It will be a we are getting the blessings from you, sir. It's really a blessings for us, definitely. And one more thing, Dr. Reju, he is my close friend. So very oftenly we used to discuss. So even I used to whenever I'm getting doubt, so I used to send what is this plant, identify it like. So mostly daily I used to send some pictures. So what is this? So confirm it and tell like. So very oftenly I used to ask if any pictures I'm getting. So immediately I used to post to him and I used to get it confirmed. So likewise, he is a very much expert in the identification in the field, and he's worked in so many colleges, and also he developed a very good medicinal garden also. And he had visited our Emmanuel Arasa colleges also for the identification. I called him, and he had come, visited, and he had identified everything, and he had helped us a lot. So for this webinar session also, so previously we did one continuous session. Starting from the crude drug up to the ADR. So in the IAS Ayush, there was a continuous session. So in that also he had participated, given a valuable ideas as well as a valuable suggestions about the cultivations and identification and all. So likewise, most of the people are asked, so we need some more classes from Dr. Ajay Krishnan, and we need the identification in detail. So that's why we have planned. So furthermore, if it is possible, so we will arrange in different manner. So how the Dravya Guna has to be studied. So mainly we are focusing that what are the points not taught in the Ayurveda colleges. We are mainly focusing. So studying the Rasaguna Viri, Vipaka and morphology, everything you will get it from our college. So what the points which is not taught from the college we are focusing. So definitely we will plan accordingly. We will come with another good topic, I think. So I'm expecting the support from Dr. Harish sir and the education sir also in future sessions also. Thank you, IAS Ayush team. So those who are worked behind the screen also, I want to say thanks. So without the help of this won't be made possible. So once again, I would like to say my thanks to each and everyone, those who are worked to get success of this webinar. Thank you, Anurag.
Thank you very much, sir. All of the student communities are looking forward for the many more amazing sessions from IAS Ayush, sir. Now, I request the participants to share your feedback on the IAS Ayush Siksha Dravya Guna series. One of the eminent personalities here as a participant though is Dr. Sai Vijay Priya ma'am, Assistant Professor, Department of Dravya Guna at Government Ayurveda Medical College, Nagarkoil. Welcome ma'am. Please share your views with us ma'am.
Good morning everyone. Am I audible?
Yes ma'am, you are audible.
Good morning everyone. First, I would like to thank the organizers of Siksha Dravya Guna IAS Ayush for giving me this opportunity to share my positive, constructive feedback with you all. The whole session starting from September 7th to till date was really an eye-opener and refreshing, like a cup of tea in the early morning. It gave a good start for the day. And I would like to thank and salute the presenters individually for their tremendous meticulous work in their area of expertise and for sharing those valuable informations they got. First, to congratulate Dr. Reju Krishnan, sir. Sir, you covered all the topics which was mentioned in the brochure, and your session on family characters with examples and beautiful plant images was very much amazing and enthralling. It gave us a new insight, particularly how to study the family characters, and in the same way how to compare it with Ayurvedic plant descriptions, and to speak and to say something more. Your speech was very much calm and composed with a pause wherever necessary. It shows your hard work, meticulous hard work in this area, sir, in this, particularly in this identification area, sir. And to speak about Harish, sir, really, sir, we got, truly speaking, we got much information regarding the topics identification of raw drugs, adulteration, substitute, pharmacognostical evaluation, and all. And when you were teaching about the identification of raw drugs with two specific characters and plant images, it was very much captivating, because as you told, fresh plants we can identify easily, but to identify raw drugs, it is very much confusing, sir. So in that case, you mentioned almost all the raw drugs with specific characters and plant images. It was very much captivating. It was very much captivating, sir. And your speech mesmerized us with abundant new informations in pharmacognosy and gave a vision to how to proceed further in the field of pharmacognosy. And one thing, sir, the meow voice of cat in your house was so sweet. We could hear it in each and every class, and it made us feel very homely with you. And thirdly, to speak about Dr. Ilanjerian, sir. Sir, really your speech in cultivation techniques, conservation and promotion strategies of medicinal plants was very much informative, and it gave us new ideas in this field. Your class on cultivation of plants was so natural, and it was a straight talk. You have put forward many feasible steps to venture into various cultivation and conservation techniques. Really, all the three sessions starting from Monday to Friday was very much enlightening for us. And my humble request is, I think this organizers of Ayush will do it, is kindly send the link of the recording of all the lectures one by one with the access passcode and a particular time to view it again, sir. Once again, my pranams to all the three speakers. All the three sessions were very much informative, and it was very much enlightening. And we will hope we will move forward with the other way with sessions. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
More and more encouraging for our presenters, and not only them, but also the budding doctors who are already the participants of the session, ma'am. Thank you very much for the feedback, ma'am. We will be very happy to get the feedback from the students among the participants as well. Your feedback is valuable for us to shine more and more in our future ventures. Those who are interested to share a few words with us, kindly raise your hands through the Zoom app, please. Participants, please know, I request those who are interested in sharing their feedback on the sessions, please raise your hands to the Zoom app. In the comment section, we are already getting so many positive comments about the session, that the sessions were very peaceful, and it shared abundant knowledge. Is anyone interested? Okay, thank you. I think Okay, thank you. Thus, we come to the end of the valedictory session. I call upon Ms. Devi Priya to give the vote of thanks.
Thank you. I'm going to announce some, first of all, thank participants for being with us. Feedback forms will be circulated to all the registered participants soon after Monday.
Excuse me. Hello, Devi.
Please unmute, ma'am. Please unmute yourself.
The registered participants after Monday. Only after filling feedback forms, participants receiving e-certificate automatically. Attendance participants
Sorry for
with
the
very low attendance will not be provided certificates. Yes. Am I audible now?
Yes, you're audible. If you don't mind, can you please share one more time? There was a scientific problem. Sorry for the interruption.
There are some announcements. Feedback forms will be circulated to all the registered participants soon after Monday. Only after filling, participants will certificate automatically. This will be taken. Participants will not be provided, but others are taken into
Interruptedly audible.
recordings of all session will be only to the participants who are paying.
Devipriya, you are not audible.
Sorry.
From that being provided.
Devipriya, you are not audible.
Now can you hear? Now can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me now?
Still
Yeah,
there is
yeah,
some
yeah.
disturbance, ma'am. Somewhat.
Yeah,
audible.
yeah.
Please repeat it, ma'am, please. Please go ahead.
Participants, participants are required not to share links. You can log in only with the that you have during registration. If logged in other than you given, videos will be blurred. If there are any technical issues, contact
Hello?
IS with pleasure. Thank you for patiently
Sorry for the
hearing.
interruption. Am I audible?
Now it's okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh,
Okay now? Is it okay now?
Yes.
voice is disturbed. Yeah, now it's okay.
All can hear the.
Sorry for the technical trouble. I think she is facing some network issue. Please
Now is
cooperate.
it okay? Now is it okay?
Okay. It is.
Shall I
It is.
continue?
Yes.
Honorable speakers, all the participants, it's my post a vote of appreciation. Behalf of and on my behalf, extend the vote of important work.
Nothing is audible.
Thank
Nothing is
you,
audible. Sorry.
sir. MD efforts towards
Sorry participants and sorry presenters for the trouble. She's facing some network issue. I think she is giving some information regarding the conclusion of the session. The e-certificates will be provided to the participants, and the links for the videos and the recorded sessions will be forwarded. And the participants are requested not to share the links and passwords. And more information will be passed on to you soon.
Yeah.
Thank
Take
you.
over. I'll take over now. You will take over now. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Thank
Yes,
you,
sir.
Aditya. Yeah, for the participants, there are few instructions. Kindly note
Shall I
that the
continue?
feedback will be sent to you to every WhatsApp number, and you are requested to fill the feedback and send back to us. The certificates and the sharing of the PowerPoints or videos, whichever the speakers have given to us to share to you, will be shared after receiving the feedback. Kindly note that the links or other data from the IAS law should not be shared to outside than the participants. If there is a sharing from the participants to outsiders, the sharing will be stopped and we regret the inconvenience caused by the time. So kindly make sure it is not being shared. And I would like to thank the speakers for spending the time and giving their valuable ideas on all the topics, and the topics have been discussed in detail, so we are not going into that. And the session will not be successful without the participants' support. So we thank all the participants who had supported and adhered to the rules and regulations of the IAS COIUSH and made this program a good success. And also I would like to thank the people who had worked behind the screen, like the people who are hosting and the co-host who had run the program, like to name the few, or Gayatri P, Gayatri S, Vairamuthu, Sandhya, Vasumati, Akshaya, Deepika, Niranjan, and Subha. These people are from Coimbatore Ayurveda College, and they have spent their time to run this program, and they had helped us a lot from behind the screen. And Tejasri from Nanda Ayurveda College, Erode, had done the hosting for the Dravyaguna program, and she did a good work, and we thank her for her valuable time. Devi Priya, Aditya Lakshmi, Samuel, and Jagdishan from Government Ayurveda Medical College, Nagarkoil, had also spent their time to run this program, and they all worked behind the screen. I would request the co-host who I have named now can just open your videos and show your face to the participants, and we may know that who are all worked behind the screen. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, participants. Aditya, you can take over and we can go for the national anthem. I request all the participants to stand up for our national anthem to conclude this session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Janaganamana Adhinayak Jaya He Bharat Bhab Sindh Gujarat Maratha Dravida Utkala Vanga Vindhya Himachala Yamuna Ganga Uchchala Jaladhitaranga Tava Shubha Name Jage Tava Shubhashish Mange Gahe Tava Jaya Gatha Janagana Mangaladayaka Jaya He Bharat Bhagya Vidhata Jaya He Jaya He Jaya He. Thank you all. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
Thank you.